Welcome in, everybody.
What's going on?
Good to see you all. It's good to see you four, and then also everybody, because it's been 2 weeks since the Q&A, so we're back at it.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah, because last week
it has.
It was.
You had vision.
Yeah. Well, as you can see, we have a guest this week. Chelsea was kind enough to join us and let us ask her questions about her business and her story. So welcome in, Chelsea. Thanks for jumping on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I got to just, as context, I got to read the win that you posted because I think it's super cool. And I'm going to skip the first line because it was just you shouting out us, and I want to not put the focus on us, but the focus on you. So in my first year of business, 2024, I earned $90K starting with zero photography experience. With a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and husband who has a demanding job, I was still able to build a thriving business despite a competitive market filled with other photographers. This program is truly an answer to my prayers. If you're on the fence about joining, I encourage you to take the leap. Know your why, trust the process, don't stop until you get where you're going. Run your own race and put your trust in the Lord above. So I thought that was an awesome win, first of all. And just the context of, so we just had a baby 3 months ago, and one is enough, and trying to build a business on top of that while it's a lot. So anyway, thanks for jumping. So I guess start us where you started. Like, what made you even think about this business in the first place?
Yeah. So I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I spent basically my whole adult life after college working for someone else. And I never felt passionate about what I was doing. I just felt like it was a job. It wasn't a career. I kind of felt lost a little bit personally. So I worked as a workers' comp insurance adjuster for 8 years.
Exciting.
In the Charlotte area, yeah. So it paid just enough to like keep me on the hook for a while. But after that, I worked a couple years for a friend of mine who is an entrepreneur, and he started a digital marketing company and asked me to be his first employee. Nice. So I did that, and I worked for him for a couple years, and it was a lot of me working with small business owners. And it was just like every day a reminder, like, like, why aren't you doing this for yourself? Why aren't you, and it's like, these people are not special. They're just average people. And so all this is going on, and I'm just kind of like becoming a more and more of a recluse, because I just wasn't passionate about it. I was like, how can I avoid growing is kind of like where I was at. On top of that, both me and my husband, we kind of have like an entrepreneurial spirit, and he can't really indulge on that because he is many years in on the highway patrol, and he just doesn't feel like, he can kind of step away from that just because it's got great benefits, and we're kind of looking at the long term there.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of looking at Airbnbs and other investment properties, and just like, it didn't feel right to me. And so I brought it to the Lord, and I was just like praying about it. And I mean, for a long time, just praying for like opportunity, because I had the entrepreneurial like desire, but not the direction. I didn't know where to direct that.
Yeah.
And one day, I was actually watching Colby Sanchez. Are you familiar?
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
And she said something about photo editing, and that kind of like got my wheels turning. And my dad has always been like a hobbyist with drones, and so I kind of called him and I was like, hey, like, let's do let's do a real estate photography business, like, and he did that with me for a little while, but then realized he just wanted to be retired. And so I kind of I think he wasn't expecting my gung-ho-ness. And
You're ready to go and build it.
yes. And so shortly after that, you came up on my Instagram or YouTube or so. I can't remember if my husband sent it to me or not, but you kind of came in, and I just kind of stalked you for a while and just looked at your YouTube and like tried to like consume as much as I could. And, I saw one of your rep workshops, and I was like, okay, there's more to this, and so that's kind of how I was introduced to your program.
Gotcha. Okay. That's interesting. It's always, most people don't wake up and think I'm going to start a real estate photo business, but you kind of did. Like, you're one of the few who, like, you already had an idea before you stumbled on something, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
So you jump in, you join, launch, we're working with you, obviously. 90,000 in revenue, like in your first year, is really solid. So, I mean, I imagine you worked pretty hard. What do you think allowed you to do that? And if someone was first starting, I guess, what would you tell them to expect?
To add to his question, sorry to cut your answer right now, but something that you mentioned is that you work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and you're like, these are average people. And you didn't mean that as an insult or anything, but going along with his question, like, what made you different? Because we're all normal people. Like, there's no such thing as like, like, what I'm trying to say, but like, what made you different aside from like somebody who's scared of trying or has been doing this for a minute and they're like, I just don't know what else to do. But yeah, just wanted to add that onto his question.
That's a good question. I think that everybody is special in some way. So yeah, like you said, I wasn't trying to discount them. But I feel like everybody has something different to offer. And I just felt like I had something more to give than what I was giving, in my job. And I think that just combined with like praying about it, just like, I just feel like God kind of made the stars align for me, so to speak.
Gotcha. Okay. And then you started, I'd imagine you worked really hard, because in order to do 90K, your first year, especially, it just requires that, like, you have to be pretty on with it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, does that sound like what you did, or like, talk about that?
Going back to your question, Eli, I think the reason that I was so successful was my husband, and just having that support system to kind of fall back on, because he, like I said, he has a very stable job, although it is demanding. It definitely helped me get through like the first few months of it, because it was the first few months was a lot of putting in the work, reaching out, planting the seeds, and it wasn't instant, but within like 3 or 4 months, then it was almost like overnight, and stuff started to happen. But yeah. I would just say he was my one of the big reasons why I was able to give it all I had. And at the same time, he was the reason why I wanted to do that, because it's like, he's going out on a limb. We're taking some savings and putting it into this course. And it's like, I owe it to him. I owe it to myself, to just go out there and just do the things, even though it was hard at times. But yeah, so, and then I wanted to mention, because I kind of wrote down something that's similar to this topic before we move on, is that I feel like everybody has a flex in some way. Like mine was that I had a support system. That was mine. But I think other people have different advantages, and it's important to focus on the things that set you apart in a good way, and not, the things that are holding you back. Because even though I do have a support system in that way, daylight savings time came around and I had responsibilities after 5 p.m.
Yep.
But it's light until 9, So someone else who maybe doesn't have that support system has those, 4 more hours of daylight every day to like make something happen. So I just wanted to say that, just to, if somebody's unsure or has kind of like a defeated mindset, if they could just take a second and look at their self and their strengths and their situation, and kind of focus on the positives.
Yeah, really good advice. Because I mean, everybody does have something that would make them feel like it's harder for them than others. But on the same, line, it's like they also have something that allows them to do that. How did you do it with the kids, especially? I mean, you have your husband, of course, but like that's another layer of, it just takes time to build a business, and kids also take time. So any thoughts, I guess, to people wanting to start this that, got kids?
Yeah. So I would just say, after bedtime, like get to work on outreach. That's one thing that I did. I mean, there were times I would just like fall asleep at my laptop, just like sending DMs and, all that stuff. So just find time, I guess, make time. It's important, so you got to make time to do it. And another thing is, don't beat yourself up. Like there were times that I couldn't get on the coaching calls, and I just had to, I had to go back, and when I had time, soak up that information, and your team was great to, if I had any questions, still answer those, even though I couldn't be live. If you have family or friends, I would just say, reach out to people. If you can't, make it to pick your kids up at, 5:30 or whenever you need to get them, just like lean on people, kind of bring people into what you're doing, and take the help.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good question on that. So, you obviously went through some hard times, because Eli mentioned, and I know it too, like getting to 90K is not easy whatsoever, especially with like the stuff that you had. Something that you mentioned on your post is know your why, trust the process. But is that something, knowing your why, is that something that helped you through those hard times? Because I would assume that it helped in some way. But yeah, and do you mind sharing your why if possible?
Yes, my why is my kids, because like I've said, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My family always kind of looked at entrepreneurs and put them up on a pedestal, and yet I was not being that example, And I think having kids made me really see that, and made me want to act on it. Yeah, so I think that's really the main reason that keeps me going. And even now, like I feel like I haven't gotten to where I'm, supposed to be yet, and it just drives me to keep going. And one day they're going to be able to look at me and say, I can do what she did, instead of rely on someone else providing them a job, so that's very important.
That's amazing. Yeah, I do think that's, from my perspective, I saw my parents, work to build businesses, and I think it gave me way more ability to go, I can do that. And so I think that's like very important, for them, especially if that's a, part of your why, which obviously they both are. So, yeah, that's super cool. Cause like, I do think that is very like, the example you set is they can eventually come to their own conclusion about that being possible for them. but it happens way sooner if they see people doing it that they know. I think so. That's really cool. Rod, any questions you want to ask or anything you want to dive into?
So I got like a list of 50. How much time we got? I've been wondering things when I knew that you were going to be on today. I've been wondering things ever since we've discovered that a couple weeks ago that you're going to be on. So,
Okay.
like, I kind of want to backtrack a little bit on the timeline to where you said Eli popped up on Instagram, which he does for all of us, and then we can't escape him. Then he's everywhere. I hear his voice in my sleep. I swear.
Yeah, I'm still.
You'll hear it. I'll be in a grocery store line, and I'll swear I'll hear him behind me, but it's just someone else, and somehow their voice just somehow morphed into his. But so you saw him, and then like we kind of went over it quickly. Like you hopped into coaching, and then we jumped into the business. But like, I imagine that was not an easy decision. I mean, that means that you had to have been like, I just saw this person online. I just got introduced to this industry. I'm all in now. Because when someone gets coaching, it's like they've decided this is the thing I'm going to be focusing on. So like,
yeah,
what was that like? The thought process of going like, I'm introduced to this random stranger on the internet, and now I'm considering this investment into coaching, and just the thought process of going all in on real estate media, thinking about it, fears, concerns. Like, what was going through your head when you were in that decision-making process to say, okay, let's jump in?
Yeah, I think everybody, is confronted like with a plethora of stuff on the internet that's like, hey, do this, buy this, and we're all just like giddy and excited, and then you're like, wait, no, that's too good to be true. And I went through all of that, and I just, like I said, I stalked him. I looked him. I did my own research to see that I just didn't get the feeling that this was a scam, And even when I had a call with Carl, like we were talking about earlier, I still had questions. I was like, can I talk to the other people, and can I, I need some more, because I mean, it was a lot. It's a little bit of money, to put down, and I just, I'm trying to think of other things I was thinking, but I think I was just excited. I think my situation was different in that I felt kind of lost for so long as far as like needing that direction of like, where do I put this desire or want to do it? That's like, I just found it, I knew it was what I wanted to do when I saw it. That might make me a little bit different. But I'm glad I did, because when I did go into coaching, it wasn't like that all went away, those fears, because I saw other people in the same boat, and they were making money, and they were doing it. And, the coaches in the program were great. They genuinely cared, I felt like. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
That happens all throughout the day.
It's rare that Rod does that. Usually it's the opposite. Chelsea was like, Rod, you're on mute.
That was so quick too. You were on it. But I imagine there was like a ton of, because I'm in the front lines here, so I'm in like where where people are talking about hey, I'm considering the business, I'm considering coaching, and it's like dealing with the concerns, the fears, the normal things. So I'm always interested, like to hear what it was. So that did answer my question. So thank you for that. And so it sounds like there was a moment where you just like your gut was telling you real estate media, not necessarily coaching so much, but real estate media. There was a point where you're like, okay, I'm jumping in on this, and then there it's like, okay, the decision of how am I jumping into this? And then did you foresee, okay, this first year is going to be a 90, did you set a goal of a 90 grand first year, or like, what was that?
No,
like, do we think about that happening?
My goal was like less than half of that.
Well, nice. Congrats on that.
There you go. Doubled the goal.
Yes.
So very cool.
Yeah, I'm still stoked about it, and just I'm pressing on. I haven't gotten it all figured out. I mean, I don't feel like I've made it, or I'm just still I'm trying to get to that next goal.
Yeah. That's part of the entrepreneur in you, I think. I was smiling when you were saying that because like I have that conversation with different people all the time, and the more our businesses grow, the more we're like, we're just getting started, you know.
Exactly.
Like that's the cool thing about entrepreneurship is there's not like a finish line, you know. It's fun sometimes, it's terrible sometimes, and it's big picture. I think good for people to work on building a business, and like you learn a lot about everything doing it. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn how to be more of a help to others. And so I think it's one of those things, just like it's the ultimate like endeavor really to do it. And so I guess future pacing a little bit, what are you looking forward to doing in the business? Like, do you want to scale the business and hire a team, or like, what's your goal or vision kind of for the business?
Yeah, I want to make this thing like its own, well-oiled machine so that I can go on vacation and, it doesn't explode.
Yeah.
So right now I'm just a solo operator, and I do have a few VAs. I have editors and a VA doing my social media outreach, and that's helped a lot. But I still feel like I'm drinking out of a water hose or a fire hydrant, because it's like it's you have to do everything. It's not easy, but it's fun. If it were a job, I'd be miserable, but because it's mine, then like I'm happy to wake up every morning and just try to do all the things.
Do you have that? I was just gonna ask, like, have you always been that positive with things, or, I mean, especially with something that you chose to do and have wanted to do for a while, which is becoming a business owner. But yeah, is it like something that just comes to you naturally, just the perspective of it? Because some people would look at like the hard stuff that happens, just like, I hate this. What have I got myself into? And you're just like, well, this is part of the process. And I think like, yeah, I'm excited because now I'm a business owner, so I'm getting those business owner struggles. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've always been introverted, and I kind of let that hold me back, just like fear kind of hold me back, fear of growing. And it's just, I think being negative and having that mindset it's just no way to be, because you're like, how can you be a happy individual, if you're constantly looking for the negative in things. So I don't know. I think a little of it is, I think I've learned it, I guess, through some life experience and just my faith too. I feel like we were all made to do something great. And, it's fun to see what that is, so it kind of makes you positive. I think when you go out on a limb for yourself and you do some work and put that faith in the Lord above, and I just think it comes naturally.
It's
I
awesome.
think it's kind of a profound thing you said there, as far as like, sometimes when people are like that, they cut off the possibility of truly discovering how great they possibly could become. And it's like, what if I could have been here, but we'll never know, because that frame of mindset can be, it can be so normal for someone to feel a negative mindset, just like someone with a positive mindset could feel like it's just so normal to do that, and like getting used to it. And so it's just like, we all have that choice. It's hard either way. And like, how do we choose it? So it sounds like, because I was going to ask, like, why, like when Eli was like, why did are you doing so well, is basically the question. So it sounds like obviously mindset's part of that. And like, what else? Like, have you been like customer service with the agents? Were you just resilient? It sounds like when the kids went to bed, you would stay up and do client acquisition. It sounds like, it sounds like there's a mix of things that you feel like might have attributed to your success, or is there specific things that you feel like you really did, or that helped?
Well, I think having like a service mindset and like wanting to help people, and I think Eli's free shoots, like, it kind of forces you to get into that mindset. And pretty soon it's like you're realizing like, oh, this just being a good person and taking care of people, actually it takes care of you too, in the long run. And I just think that's really cool. I mean, it's cool how that works. So, but yeah, I'm sorry. I'm blanking out now.
No,
so.
no, that was
I have no idea what I asked either. I got 49 more questions. But real quick, I kind of want to know, like, as what Kevin calls them, right? The war stories. So like, let's move forward in the timeline. You've jumped in with our help here. You're jumping into the business. You're jumping into coaching. It sounded like maybe the first 3 months, it was, you know, for like everybody is the build phase. And then when it hits, is if they allow it to. So like, what were like, I kind of am curious to know like the tough times in the beginning. Like, what was the struggle? What did we feel challenged with, and what was the overcome for that? And then when was the moment when you like realized, oh crap, this is happening. This is taking off. I see it. Like walk me through a little bit of that. I'm curious.
Yeah, so I think that the main thing is the free shoots. I mean, giving those out, and it, you know, after a lot of them, you're like, okay.
That was the challenge, or maybe a discouraging point in the beginning.
Yeah, because I mean, I probably did it to myself too, because I put a large service radius around my house because I live in a rural area, but I'm above Charlotte, and Charlotte's just like huge. So it had to be big. And I was driving like over an hour to a shoot to go to over an hour to the next shoot. And, you know, those are free,
they're
right?
all free.
Yeah, they're all free.
You're investing. That's a lot of time and, you know, expenses.
Yeah. And that's why I said, you know, having a spouse that, you know, could, you know, sustain us for a little while was important. But yeah, I used that time in the car to listen to your workshops and like just be around people that were doing the same things. It's like you know, you're not the only one out there that's grinding. And then, you know, then you kind of get competitive a little bit, and you're just like, you know what, like that person's grinding, I got to do it. You know, I got to be twice as good. So I mean, yeah, the free shoots were the hard part, because you're like, you're doing the things, but you're not getting paid for them. But then eventually they start turning into, you know, paid shoots or referrals. And but the outreach part was kind of mundane. I mean,
it's a perfect way to put it.
Doing some, and I still have to get in front of more brokerages for brokerage presentations. Presenting is not my thing, guys. Like, I don't know why I'm on here. Seriously. Like, why am I here? No, but I just, I have done some presentations. I'm not saying that they were the best, but I just did them, you know, and I'm glad I did them, and I need to do more. Yeah.
It's part of the, I mean, we kind of mentioned it before we went live, that you said, like, when I was thanking you for being on here, you're like, the old me wouldn't have done that, you know? And so I think that's a fun part of building a business. So I want to be respectful of your time. I know we're like a little bit over. You have time for one more question?
You're over? Oh my gosh. Okay, gosh.
I'm stealing it, Rod. I'm gonna mute you and take this question.
49 more questions.
Yeah, right.
So I love that we talked about the hard part. I always try to, like, there's two things I don't want any of these live Q&As to be, but especially when there's people on. I don't want it to be just a coaching pitch, and I don't want it to be, it was all glory building the business. So we kind of talked about, like, it takes work and it took 3 months. So I guess the question I'd love to kind of have you leave everybody with, take this however you want, is you picture you're somebody that just signed up for coaching day one. So it kind of takes your ability to say join coaching away. So you just signed up for coaching day one. What do you wish you would have done differently while you were in the program or starting your business? How can someone get the most from, you know, getting started with their business?
What have I done? What would I have done differently?
Yeah, or what do you think you did well? Like, what's the advice you want to give to someone just starting today?
Gosh, advice. I would say don't just focus on the money part. Because like I said, when it's not coming in, it's gonna demotivate you. But have like a couple other reasons why you're doing it that's not money related. Like for me, it was my kids. And I think the second thing, and we've touched on it several times, is just my faith. And it's like, how is God using me to like further his cause? And but he's putting me in front of people. He's putting me in front of opportunities, so at the same time, it's like you're still getting something in return. That's not why you're doing it, but have those reasons in place so that when it does get tough financially, you still have that to like fall back on.
Yeah, it's like because if it's just a self thing, then when you feel bad, it's kind of like against what you're trying to do. So like getting an external motivation, I think is really good. Well, thanks so much for coming on and for being willing to jump on here, especially despite, I always try to say too, I'm a recovering introvert. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to thank you again for having the course and just being all up in my Instagram. And I'm just, it's changed my life. And I believe that you're doing some awesome work just by helping other people better their situations. So, and again, thank you, God, for basically, I put my faith in him and he over delivered. So
thank you. Very kind. And we're grateful for you and excited to watch what you keep building. So the pleasure is all ours, and we're grateful to have you part of the community.
Absolutely.
Have a great evening, and thanks for your time.
Thank you, Eli.
See you later, Chelsea.
Thank you, Chelsea. See you.
Bye.
I'll email you those 48 other questions. So. Thank you.
See you,
I'll plug it into Chat GPT and just
just answer this for me.
Good idea.
See you.
All right. Bye.
That was awesome.
That was great.
I told her 20 minutes at the start because I didn't want to be rude and take so much time. And then I was like, looked up and we were 25 minutes.
I missed that part.
Yeah, that was.
I was like, the worst part is in the back of my head, I was thinking, okay, we got an hour and a half. We're good. I got my 48 questions.
We got an hour and a half, Rod.
That is a busy woman. We can't take no hour and a half, Rod. She's got kids, businesses, all this stuff. So
the biggest takeaway that I got from her was like, she's definitely not an excuse maker. She could have had all the excuses possible, and understandably so. I was like, I have 2 young kids, a husband, the demanding job and all those things, but she just didn't like the nights. I mean, I don't have a kid, but I would assume like it's I mean, we talked to Jared, I talked to you now, Aaron, and stuff about about children, and you guys scare me with the stories, but her just saying like I fell asleep while doing DMs. I was like, wow, that's powerful right there. Like something to be proud of right there. But yeah, like no excuses. The perspective that she had on things, she was just like, oh yeah, it's hard, but because I'm a business owner. And so it wasn't like, oh, it's hard, life sucks. It's just like she was excited about the stuff that was coming at her.
Wanted to build. And I think
it's
like I think about eventually. I mean, so there's always things that suck about a job or a business, right? Like we know that's the case, but it just feels less bad when it's yours and you feel like it's for a reason.
Yeah. Like she didn't say this, and I feel like a lot of people that we've talked to and interviewed here like have said something similar, but it's like choose your own heart. And she was choosing, I want to have a hard time on my own thing, not on somebody else's thing. And it's exactly what you just said. Like, yeah, you will have a hard time regardless. You just get to choose, make that choice. Like, where do you want to have it?
Yeah, because it's like that quote. It's like you can either pick hard now and you get to choose what the hard looks like and when it happens, or you can choose not to, and it's going to choose you in a time and way of its own desire, where it's like, it's ultimately, if you do hard things now, you get easier things later. And if you do easy things now, you pay the price with hard things later. And just, yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't think I've met anybody who's like, for the most part, oh yeah, my job's so easy, it's great. They're like, my job sucks and it's hard. And so it's like, well, if you're doing that, like, you might as well. Now, I would say business, you don't clock out at 5, especially in the first part of building it. It's actually a skill you have to learn once you build your business, because it takes over delivering at the start, and then you have to learn how to turn it off. And so I think the cool thing about her is she just has like a steady, the way she delivers everything is so steady. It was like, yeah, I did that and we did this and it was hard. And then I did that and it was mundane. And it's just like a nice way of looking at it. Like there wasn't any,
I was
like
trying to pry out like the, but I think when someone's like her that you meet, that's very positive and leads with gratitude, that excuses are
that's what it is.
Are impervious. They have a shield up that just doesn't let excuses get too much of a thought. And it's just, it was there, but it was just part of it, instead of, oh, it was there, it's the wall. Like some people will say, this thing is the wall. It's just like, oh no, it's there. Yeah, I'm working through it. It was mundane.
Yeah. Her
So
why
I think
and like her
perspective is so heightened, and she might not even realize, like she just thinks so entrepreneurial, like on such a high level, that people spend their whole lives trying to master that perspective, and it's just there naturally, or it's been framed by her being around the right people or whatever, but it's just, it's there from what I'm feeling. And that propelled her, I feel like, combined with strategy, to why she's had such a killer first year, is just, she's just a good person. And the agents probably felt that too, but she treated her business that way. And that positivity did not let excuses come in and even poison the mind at all. She just kept focused straight ahead with it. So yeah, she's incredible. Yeah. I do have 48 more questions. I'm not even kidding about that. So I probably will have to.
I believe you. I didn't second guess. What were you going to say, Mr. Rose?
I forget. Oh, no. I was going to say, like, I think her urgency and like the why is what overcame all the hard stuff. Because she was just like, well, I've always wanted to become this. So I was just saying, like, mainly her why is just like remembering that. And I feel like every person that we've interviewed, they're like, yeah, my why was this and that. And that just like helped them overcome like any hardships that came about with just owning a business.
And I almost want to bring up the hardships more, because like I wanted everybody to trust me, and I want to keep it real. So when you start, you're like, what they didn't tell me about this. So I have to expand one thing. She just briefly mentioned, the Instagram method's a little mundane. She spent hours after her kids went to bed sending Instagram messages over and over and over. And
until she fell asleep.
Until she fell asleep. Like that's what it actually takes. And I think it's representative of her, where she was like, yeah, I just did that. And it's like, most people are like, I can't do this. Like, and so you have to be ready to do that. Sometimes the hard stuff isn't hard as much as it is just boring. And so I just wanted to expand on that, because like, I know without knowing that when she said it was a little mundane, what she meant is she spent hours in the evening sending messages. And so like, you have to get ready to work. I don't want anyone going like, this is going to be so easy. I think you need a balance of two things. You need, I can do this. I can make this happen. That's why we invite people like Chelsea on, because that's very important. It was important to me when I was starting my business. It's important to everybody who's built a business. You got to have that, like, I can do this. You also need to balance it with, I'm willing to do the work and do the stuff that's hard, and it is going to be hard. And so I think if you have those both perspective, it's awesome. And I'm a big fan of wins and talking about that stuff, because a lot of times business becomes all about problem solving, not problem in the negative way, but sometimes, right, you're just doing all these problems. Like, I think it's a balance to know, like, hey, this is awesome. Like 0 to 90K in total revenue in a year in your first year is crazy, because that also assumes you didn't make any money your first month, and your second month is probably a little slower. So the ramp up was insane to get there, right? It's not a 90K run rate. Like at the end of the year, she isn't making enough where if she did that every month for 12 months, she'd make 90. It's probably way higher than that, because she had to like cancel out the first couple months. So of not a lot, some people get quote unquote lucky, and they like get revenue their first month and they make like $1,500, $2,000. It's not normal though. It usually takes, 2 months in is typically when people get their first shoot. You want to see that, and then it ramps up from there. And
she mentioned it too, though. Different people, different stories, and different advantages. Maybe those people that did get $1,500, $2,000 a month had different advantages that she didn't. Like maybe some person doesn't have kids, and so they can stay up until 9 p.m. when finally like the sun goes down, and so they had those extra shoots or extra time. So just wanted to bring that up.
Trying to think where I want to take the conversation. I have a couple ideas. One is, you guys want to talk about this a little bit? I think, not to make this like super negative, but I'm trying to like balance out, because I want accuracy here. She mentioned a little bit, and I was going to ask her this, Fran, because I know you asked it while she was still on, but I didn't want to be disrespectful of her time. And so I would just say, I know what she's going to answer, because I work with people building these businesses all the time. The free shoots kind of suck at the start. Usually it's like free paid, or free, paid, free, paid. Like it starts to happen fast, but the free shoots kind of suck because you're doing work for free. And then the driving, I mean, you drive a lot in this business. So like, I like that because I like being out and driving and I can listen to audiobooks, but like those are two downsides. And then you got to deal with real estate agents. You know, it's a customer service business. You get some people that are difficult to work with. So those are some, but yeah, I mean, I think not to focus on that too much. I think there's a ton of advantages about the business. You know, it's a great way to make money. It's fun. I like seeing new houses. You know, all the time you would see houses and cool architecture, and you make great money. So let's do some Q&A. Drop your questions in there. Thanks everybody for watching so far. Actually, let's do this first. Drop your questions in there, but in the spirit of wins, share some wins from what happened in your business this week or this month, or how you finished last year. Just drop some wins in there. I think this is really important. I know, like for me, building my business, I had to see people winning. And when I did, I was like, dang, okay, it's possible. And so do that, and just do it for me. I like to see wins too. It's fun. I get to like relive starting my business again. And that's fun. So share them in the chat. Hired my third photographer. Congrats, Peter.
Nice.
You're probably getting close to being out of shooting, if that's your goal. Let's see. Chelsea is north of Charlotte, North Carolina, in the rural area north of there. 3 paid shoots this week so far.
Nice.
Sam, congrats. Another shoot win. Estrello Digital Media Consulting said I got booked for 5 paid shoots next week and then got another on Saturday. This time of year is super fun. People who have put in the work over the last like month or two during like the slower season, because it's just the ramp up is crazy. Like if you look at the listings in every area, I mean, they just ramp up this time of year.
Nice, David.
Let's see. What else we got in here? Win just chatted with Nicole and I'm signing up for coaching. Wes, welcome in. We're excited to have you. Get ready to work. Our job is that we tell you exactly what to work on, and we make it as streamlined as possible, because you're going to have to do the work. But one of the hard things, like, and I know you're already doing this, and like whether you're, anybody listening, you're thinking about this business or some other business, like the hardest thing about starting a business is when you don't know what to do. And so you just do a ton of work that doesn't matter. And so we're excited to help you focus on what does matter. Let's see. I agree, David. Absolutely. Here's a win. Started training our 2 new photographers. They started January 6th after we returned from vacation, posted for VA. Sharon.
Nice.
Awesome.
I loved it. We've met them. So I have a special place in my heart for them. So I'm super excited to see that for Sharon and Chris.
Yeah. That's why I say this like too much, but I just remember when Chris quit his job and posted that photo, that like
we were all excited. Somebody texted in the group.
Yeah, it's crazy. that photo, I still can see I could draw it right now. I don't know why. Let's see. I got a Nikon. I have no idea how to set up brackets or how to use it. Any advice on how to learn? Are you familiar with ChatGPT? You can ask it how to set up bracketing for that specific camera. But I don't know that camera specifically. I'd have to like work with you to do that. But let's see. What other questions? Oh, here we go. Drop some questions there. We got time, everybody. What time is it? 5:46 Eastern. The night is young. Clemente said, do you recommend editing your own real estate picture, outsourcing them? From day one, outsourcing them. It's just a complete, in my opinion, waste of time to learn. And it's hard to learn. It's actually like one of the harder parts of the business. And there's so many super talented editors that do it for a living. So you just outsource to them and you focus on getting more clients. I love it. We had Edwin on here, and this is like a lot of people that we get to coach from the beginning do this, but he was on here and he was like, I don't even have any editing software in my computer. He's doing over 10K a month. I think that's what you want to shoot for. Yeah. And I mean, even people that have built an awesome business, like everybody in this business will basically say to outsource. Let's see. Oof. I have 6 shoots this week, ready for the busy season. My goal last year was 4 to 5K, met that. And this year my goal is 8 to 10K per month. Congrats.
Congrats.
Let's see. Can you guys touch on writing off mileage and what you use for tracking? Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different things you can use for tracking. If you use something like Spiro, you can pull a mileage report from Spiro. as far as how you write it off goes, you do need to talk to someone you file taxes with about the correct way to do that, because there's multiple options. So you could write off your mileage, you can write off actual expenses, and you can sometimes depreciate the vehicle. It's a really complex way of telling you, like, when you do your taxes, you want to have someone you can ask that question to. Getting someone to file your taxes is very cheap, and they'll know the right way. But definitely, if you don't have something like Spiro in place, keep track of your miles. There's tons of apps you can get for that. Gained 20 new clients in October, November, December, and 16 new clients so far this month. How busy am I going to be this year? Hold on, buddy. That's all I can say.
16 new clients so far.
Halfway through the month too.
That's quite a lot, man.
Dude, that's a ton. 15 per month average is where we say the max you really want to grow at as a solo operator is. Because 16 in 1 month is fine, but if you do 15 1 month and then you have 30 the next month total more, and then you have 45, and then before you know it, you need like 6 photographers. So like 15 is like the peak that you want to shoot for of new clients when you're not a team. So hang on. That's awesome. Let's see. I hear a lot of talk about editing your own photos and videos yourself to help with quality control. Why do others in this industry say that so much? Makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, really good question, Victor. I mean, I think the interesting thing about the media industry is there's a lot of just really bad business advice. And I don't mean that to disrespect those people. I mean, what they're doing is they're looking at this from the artistic perspective and then making a business decision based upon that. There's just a lot of people who don't make very much money, and they spend a lot of time on like lower leverage stuff. And so you have to, I mean, there's a couple things. One, you assuming that and I know you're not coming from this vantage point, Victor, but assuming that you have to do it to get good quality is kind of like a prideful thing, right? It's saying like you're the only one that can do it well. And I think that's like, it's usually not coming from pride, but it kind of is if you think about it. It's like this. So there's plenty of like people who will edit better than you. And not only will they edit better than you, you'll get all your time back to work on growing your business. So I guess to go back to like kind of like a first principle line of thinking, what do the big businesses do? Well, all of them outsource. So that's kind of an interesting metric to think through. There's no big businesses that aren't outsourcing, because if they wouldn't be a big business if they have to do it all themselves. It's not enough time in the day. So you're definitely not doing something wrong. My
thought on this is like, once again, you get to pick and choose what you want to do as a business. And like, it all depends on your goal. Like, yes, you can be more creative. You can have more control of your editing and all that. Yeah, they talk about the art, but it's just like, do you want to be an artist? Do you want to be a business owner? Because both aren't the same. You can have business owner doing art, but like, you don't have to necessarily like focus too much on it. For example, agents aren't going to care about like, I don't know, specific things on video or photos. But you may see it, but doesn't mean that they'll see it. And so why should you care about it if they're going to be happy about it? So just something to keep in mind is like, it really just depends on your goal. If you want to build a business, try to do it as efficient as possible. And if you want to build an artistic thing, I don't know, Jared calls it a hobby. And I'm trying to get a quote from him that he usually says, but
forget what his quote is.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
What's the concept of like, so you don't want to do work that doesn't matter. And like a lot of time when people are talking about this, it's quality that matters to them, but the client didn't care. So in the scheme of their business, it didn't matter. A quote I like is like, don't confuse motion with progress, because a rocking horse moves, but it doesn't go anywhere. And so like a lot of times people get so busy doing stuff that they feel like is progress, but they're just rocking on a horse. It's not moving them forward. And so I think the reason a lot of photographers, videographers, media, creative people don't make a lot of money is because they spend a lot of time on stuff that doesn't move their business forward.
Jared just sent it. He said, hobbies have standards, businesses have baselines. And that's exactly what it is. Especially with you can apply that for photos and videos. Yeah.
There's just you don't want to model people that aren't doing what you want, or that don't have the result that you want. Right. And there's just a lot of people that like act as if the photography industry is not a great place to make money, but that's okay because they like the art. It's like, I don't think that's true. It is a great place to make money. You just have to do things a little differently. And it's no shade to anybody. It's just like, I truthfully got in this business because sure, I liked cameras. I liked media. I liked real estate. My goal was to make money. I needed money. So that is the problem I was solving. And so my lens, and I like building a business. It's not just the money itself. It's like, I like that. That's my way of being creative. It's like seeing how I can make more money and build a business and build a team. And so for me, it was like, I was just looking at things through a different lens. And that's why it's very important to know what you want. there's that quote where it's like, it's in Alice in Wonderland. It's like, you know, they asked, I think it's the cat, like, which way should I go on this path? And the cat's like, well, where are you trying to go? And the guy's like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. And it's like, well, then it doesn't matter what path you choose. And so that's an important lesson to keep in mind. I don't think it's the cat that said it either way. It's like it is important to know what you're solving for, so you solve the right thing. Because if you ask 5 people, what should I do in my business? They're going to give you different answers based upon what they think you're trying to accomplish or what they want to accomplish. Some people love the creativity of editing and doing that. I don't want to be at my computer at 9 p.m. editing every night. That's just not in my goals stack. And so you have to know what is.
That's pretty cool. Also, I'm amazed that you have references like that.
What is it? The cat, dude? I stole that from somebody. I don't know who's.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, you're not the person
cat.
who just like pops Netflix and just like, okay, let me watch a movie.
Alice in Wonderland tonight. I'll have to watch it. The reference is good though, because a lot of people are like, "What should I do?" And you're like, "Well, what are you trying to do?" And they're like, "I don't know." And then it's like, "Well, it doesn't matter." You're like,
yeah,
figure it out first, you know. Rod's like these dunces talking about whatever this reference is.
it's something that I asked you a question a few months ago, and you asked me, is like, is that person that you're, I don't know, getting advice from the life that you're wanting to have? So I guess that could apply to, I guess, everything, you know, like, do you want to build a company that doesn't require you to do editing, follow what we say, or if you do, then follow the other person? Like, I don't think there's a right or wrong. It's just like depending on like what you want to do. But exactly what you just said, like comes down to like, what do you want to do?
Yeah. No, and if you don't know that, that's a good first step. Samuel, can you email Rep Video on this? Most people here don't use that. So just like little specific questions, they'll be able to email you back fast. And the team is like on it, so email them. Let's see. Did 21K in revenue my first year in 2024, hoping to double it this year in 2025.
Nice.
I'm going to encourage you to try to more than double it. If you already did 21K, you can totally do 100K this year, Mr. Creations, or whatever your real name is. You can do 100K. Like, that's the goal I encourage you. I mean, Chelsea did 90K from zero in her first year. So I think you can do that. I'm not trying to like put your goal down, and maybe there's a reason for that goal. I just want, I want to like pull you up because I think you can do that. Ooh, this is a good question. How many people that have done your course would you say are making more than 50K a month? Yeah, I mean, there's a good bit. A lot of the ones that do that, they're like a little bit more heads down growing their business, and they're not as likely to kind of like blast it. I don't know. Probably. I mean, depends on if you count. Like,
it always surprises me when we do get to meet those people. Are like, oh, okay, yeah. you just never heard of them, you know?
Probably between what 50 and 75 people, I would say, at a bare minimum, that have been at that level that have grown. We've just done different stuff too. So like, it depends on if you count back from 2019. I mean, there's plenty of people who have crushed way past that. I would say 75-ish, somewhere in that range. Because 50K is tough. You know, to get to 50K, you have to actually like build a team. You can't do that alone unless you're like, I think Jericho and his wife did 60K alone, but that's like that's not happening for most people. So yeah, at that level, you kind of need like 3 to 4 photographers and an admin probably. So yeah, I don't know like what's driving your question or if there's any specific thing, but I would probably say that. We try to have as many of them on here as we can. Let's see. Cameron said, just had an order come into my Spiro and it's a rental, but the agent has unit 2 and 3. Should I charge 2x? Cameron, I would call them and ask for the situation and just see what they're wanting. Because maybe they just want you to split the package over a couple small units. But I would just ask them about deliverables. I like watching Rod look around. It's enjoyable, actually.
A lot of commotion out in the front of my house right now. So
go solve. What's
going on out there?
Nick, what is the rep editing email? Nick, we will reach out to you because rep editing is only available to people inside of our community. So
that's true.
It's one of the perks. Anyway, Nick, Mr. West, Kenny will reach out to you right now. Let's see. Coaching depends on where you're at in your business, AD. So it's not a set price. Depends on if you're just starting, you already have a business. If you already have a business, what you need help with. And so it's not a set price for everybody. Let's see. No, I appreciate that, Eli. I don't know if I would do anything last year. I didn't know if I'd do anything. Oh, but finding any success helped build my confidence. It wasn't for you, I would have never started. Thank you. We'll keep going. Hopefully my 100K goal didn't come across wrong. I just think you can totally do that. AD on that too, to answer your question fully. If you, I'll put the link up here. You can chat with the team. I think someone said this earlier, but we're not pushy. Like we need to look at your business, make sure in an area we can serve. If you already have a business, what your goals are. So we can, there's different resources we have available. Some of that, ranges from free stuff like this all the way up to like very involved coaching. So I'll put the link up and you can, that's not the right link. Where's the right link? It's not Let's Talk anymore. What do we do? Some old links in here. I mean, that one will work, but I'll just put it in here, replaunch.com/apply. Should update our stuff occasionally, huh? Part of the process. Anyway, see, Sharon said we're about 20K without other team members. I would not suggest it. Chris, full-time, me, part-time. We're losing our mind. Your new strategy. Yeah. 15K a month is like when you want to hire a team for everybody's context. So thankfully, Chris and Sharon have each other. So they get a little help there. But yeah, I can imagine you guys are busy. That's why I don't know how. I mean, Jericho and Clarissa, they did like 60 something K with just them two, but it was because their average order value is like $1,000 a shoot. It's crazy.
You're in Seattle, right?
Yeah, somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. I think they're in Seattle.
Yeah.
So I follow Colleen a lot. She's my competitor. Haha, JK, love her. She has a nice team on W2. You said you have part-timers. What's the best approach? Yeah, so we're W2 part-time. I think Colleen has a pretty similar structure. So that's how we do it. Thanks for having Chelsea on here. It's wild that we're from the same state and live close to each other an hour away. I can relate to what she said a lot. You're welcome. Awesome. I'm glad she was willing to come on. Let's see. Also, quick technical question. Should I collect sales tax to travel fees? Yeah, I don't think you technically have to. I think it does depend state to state. But it's like such a small extra fee that we just charge on everything to make it simple. Everything that's that. So anyway, thank you, Sharon. We're excited to help you guys keep building your team. I know, especially if people have been like a part of our community for a long time. We're always like, man, we really want to have a good impression with coaching, helping them in that way. So thank you for that. Jerry said made almost 25,000 revenue last year and really pushing for 150 by the end of this year. Nice goal, Jerry. Jerry, with your 15 new clients, 16 new clients, you're on track.
Didn't you start halfway through the year too, Jerry? I remember us speaking. You started like halfway through the year too, so that's a very good accomplishment for starting
with that level of
year, starting from the ground up too. So very nice.
Jerry's got two hands on a jet engine just pulling him. So your job is just to hang on, dude.
September.
Keep doing what you're doing. Don't adjust.
Started in September. Hold on, I gotta do finger math. Hold on, September, October. Yeah, you're 4 months in. Good stuff, man. That's crazy.
Do you guys suggest trying to stack a lot of Google reviews? Yeah, I mean, especially as your business gets more established. Oh, and I don't think it's a bad idea when you're first starting. I don't think it's high priority necessarily. It's much better just to reach out and get clients, but I don't think it hurts once you get some clients just to ask, hey, it'd be great if you'd give us a referral. There was something that Cam shared at the conference. He spoke at our conference, built a great business. And he said, dang, what was the thing? It was a goal. Do you know what it is, Rod? Oh, he was just nodding at something completely different. He made me think he knew what I was trying to say. It was like a goal, a deadline, and something. So it's basically, hey, I'm trying to hit 100 reviews by January 30th. Would you be able to help me? A goal, a timeline, and a favor. And so I like that for reviews. I thought that was a really good framework. So, hey, Jake, client, I'm trying to hit 50 reviews by the end of this month. Is there any chance I get you to leave me a Google review? That'll help you get a lot. It takes like 2 seconds. Coaching in September, started my business in 2023. Yeah, so it was, or June 23. So it was in coaching September, October, November, December. Wait, June, July, August. Dude, so yeah, not even like 6 months until that client growth. That's crazy. Insane. Best way.
Not a day. What's your name again? I swear it's not Adrian. I swear I'm getting my usernames mixed up.
Rod, if you nailed that, I'm gonna be impressed.
I don't know. I'm like so second guess. I don't think I'm right on that.
We always joke because everybody has.
I got to remember everyone's business name, and their username.
Yeah. And they just hit you from different sources. So you're like,
I don't even know my username. What is it?
Rod is a savant with names, though. He can list off like on the rep team. I struggle to remember. I made this joke last time. I struggle to remember my dogs' names, my 3 dogs, and I only have 3 of them. And I know their names. And I literally draw a blank if I'm trying to remember anybody's name. And it's so bad. And I hate that. Oh, but Rod can just list off anybody.
It was Adrian, by the way.
So. That's what I'm saying.
Come on now. Come on now.
Recall is like intense. I stayed at a hotel the other day, just quick side story. I think it's like a really good thing to try to do. I've always like kind of beat myself up about not remembering names very well because it just like makes a great impression. But I came down like the next morning and the guy was like, "Good morning, Elijah." And I was like, how do you know that? And it turned out that his name, so my full name is Elijah Norman Jones, right? And his name was Elijah, or not Elijah. His first name was something else, but it was Jones Norman. And so he just like remembered, but the recall, like it makes you feel a certain way when someone remembers your name. And so I try to always do that. It's hard, especially in a service business. I think it is important. Okay, let's see.
Wait, did we answer this question though?
No.
Oh,
sorry, Adrian. I remember his name now. Best way to get ready for part 107 books, specific YouTube person. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat for you.
It's a good YouTube video, right?
Yeah, so it's a Tony Northrup. How do you spell it? North Rupp video, and then Prepware remote pilot app. Okay, so that's like the 1-2 punch for passing your drone test. So watch that video by Tony Northrup. Just look up like Tony Northrup drone. It'll come up. And then there's an app. It's $5 on the App Store and Google Play and Apple App Store. And it has the exact test questions, like word for word. And so my strategy is watch that video and then take the test until you just nail 80% or above like 3 times in a row. Let's see. Ooh, this is a good question. What's the ideal dollar amount you pocket after paying a shooter and editor? Yeah, so it does change depending on how much your business grows. You want to look at about 80% when you're a solo operator. So if you do 12K in revenue, you want to make roughly 10K in profit. Now, when you grow your team, when you have 3 or 4 people, maybe you're at 50%. When you scale past that, it goes down. That's just a function of scale. But the percentage may be smaller, but the number that it represents is bigger. So like 20% of $1 million a year is better than, 80% of 60K. So it just kind of depends. Oh, someone else's name is Adrian too. Wait. Did we mess that up? Right?
No.
Oh, yeah.
80 is Adrian as well.
So now we got both of you, both Adrians.
Is there a third? Show yourself, third Adrian.
This is good advice. This is probably also Adrian.
No, his name's David. I actually spoke to him the other day. Shout out, David. What's up, man?
David.
You remember. That's awesome.
The username memory is insane. Anyway, Tony's video is really good, and study your charts is a good piece of advice for the drone test thing. They ask you a lot of questions about charts. What questions you guys have? Drop it in there. I think we're like caught up-ish. So ask your question again. If we missed it, ask your question again. If we miss it again, we probably just don't want to answer it. Just kidding. We'll answer it.
That's very honest.
I mainly said that just to watch Rod go, huh?
I'm now going to pick it.
Owen said, I'm bad with sitting down and reading, but I like podcasts a lot. Any podcasts you suggest are applicable? Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I like podcasts, Owen. I think for me, and maybe this will be something of value to you, podcasts, sometimes they make episodes to make episodes. And so the value to minutes ratio is not always the best. I just like audiobooks for that reason. And so there's a lot of audiobooks I like, and I use audiobooks kind of like medicine, I guess. So if I have a specific problem, I try to find a book that solves that. So like one thing we're working on across all of our businesses and to help teach for the people we coach is onboarding and what onboarding should look like. So I'm reading this like kind of boring book now called Onboarding Matters. I'm not suggesting you read that. Yeah, it's not really boring. It is kind of boring. What's that?
I got excited.
It's mundane.
No, not even that, dude. Well, it depends on.
He got all stoked up because he got a bunch of
he recommended me like 2 days ago, and he said it was boring. So I was like, oh, okay, like I'll read it one day. And then this morning, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And I was like, this is exciting. And so I started hitting him with some ideas, and I was like, you lied to me.
Let's get you going.
Yeah.
It's me. I mean, it gets everybody going. So, and I would just say that. I mean, it depends on what you're looking to do. I can just give you some recommendations of books that I like that I recommend a lot. Let me just pull up my books, and then we'll move on to Victor's question. I think was a great question. Let's see. All right. This is no, I'm gonna find 3 that I think would be great at the start. Okay, so if you're trying to scale your business, Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. So if you're ready to have a team where you're making, let me rephrase, if you're making more than 10K a month, Buy Back Your Time. If you're making less than 10K a month, Let me find some good ones. Oof. There's like so many. I'm trying to like recommend specific ones and not just like list off a bunch of ones. Well, I mean, I think Atomic Habits is almost like a cliche book, but it's good for getting started with something new. So if you're just starting, probably Atomic Habits, if you haven't read it, is a good one. Let me find one more. I think if you need like motivation and a kick, the 10X rule is a good one. I think that's probably a sufficient get started list.
I like the Go Giver. I always got to plug.
Oh, the Go Giver. Yeah, that's
ultimately like at the end of the day, what like fuels me is that book.
Yeah. No, it's such a good book.
That's I don't know.
Chelsea is a Go Giver.
That one's like if you like want to create some energy in your business that maybe not that could be improved as far as like how people feel when they encounter our business and the good that our business does, and focusing on that, the rest will come. That's the Go Giver, and it's a really good book because it's not like a instructional book. It's more of a stories happening, and you're learning fruit throughout the story versus it being like to do this, this, and this. So yeah, Go Giver. It's a red cover though. Guys, sounds like I'm an affiliate for them. I have an affiliate link for. I'm just kidding. But no, it's a red cover. There's like 6 different Go Giver books, so you don't read like 6 different ones. It's a red cover. The Go Giver, yes. That's.
Would you say that Chelsea?
That book. I would have never known of that book, and if it weren't for you, like, and so.
Yeah, I love that book. Someone recommended it to me. Would you say Chelsea is basically the Go Giver in human form? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
the book was actually written about her. What I think
could have been.
Yeah.
Some say she wrote it, but who knows? Victor said, "What's the process of the Instagram method? Like, how long do I engage on the account before sending a message? I'm just following, then sending a message." Yeah, I mean, typically it's like you want to engage at least you follow, and then you engage, and then you give it a day, and then you send a message. Is typically the process. Is what we'd recommend, Victor. We have like the reason I'm not just saying this to like gatekeep it, but we have like a CRM kind of thing for coaching people that basically makes it a checklist so you can remember who you need to message and that kind of stuff. But if you just do it manually, like with the spreadsheet, you want to engage and then, you know, DM like a day later, you give them some time to follow you back kind of stuff. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh yeah. I don't know. I didn't think of that. If you're looking for like a real estate, you're looking for a real estate media specific podcast, Todd and Nick host the Spiro podcast. Todd's he coaches as a guest coach in our community. He owns Spiro, which is a software for real estate photographers that we highly recommend and love. And he built an incredible real estate media business. He's been in some of our content. They do like 300,000 plus a month. So he has a podcast, and yeah, he's just overall like I think something I'm very careful about personally is the type of people that I like vouch for, basically, and like am involved in with business at all. It's very important to me. Like, you can mess up your reputation once, you only get one shot. And so Todd's one of those people that I just absolutely have loved everything we've, you know, gotten to do together. He's a great guy, like super strong and solid ethics. And I think that's really important. Just like a solid dude. So Spiro podcast, big shout out to them. I think Todd's full of wisdom, and he's been doing this since I was 8 years old. He's been in real estate media. So not to age him, but go watch the Spirit podcast. Let's see. Yeah, Alice in Wonderland book is what I need. Yeah, the 10X rule is like a great book for just basically having someone just repeatedly kick you in the butt to get moving. And it does taking like a lot of the concept in that book is like take massive action, and that is what it takes. So that's really good. Follow up on the rental. Agent said it's a rental with 2 units, 2 different listings, 2 videos. No, you don't necessarily, you charge less, if anything, for rentals, just because the agent typically makes less. But yeah, I would just charge, like, are they wanting to squeeze it all in one? I would probably charge a little less because it's 2 side by side. So maybe the first one for regular price and the other one for like 60-70% of the price is what I would typically do. But yeah, rentals are typically less or equal to, you would definitely wouldn't charge more. Let's see. Wes, what's up? Welcome in. What else we got here? Yes, you can. Good question. Definitely get your drone license. You know, the trouble can look different depending on what you do, but it's not worth it because the license is really not that hard to get. It's like less than $200, which I know is money, but like, play it safe. You're trying to build a long-term business, you know? And then
like on the calls with me sometimes and go, I ask, drone part 107. And they're like, yeah, I got a drone, fly it. No 107. I'm like, no. They're like, yeah, I've been fine for years without one. I'm like, always get like, I don't know, like,
Jeez.
I don't know. It's like makes me nervous. The fines are like what 80 to 100K sometimes or something crazy.
Yeah, I think it's like per instance. I mean, sure they can.
Yeah.
They probably like won't.
If you fly into like a F-16, you know, in the military,
Yeah. You're gonna pay them. That's the thing. It's just like Victor, don't say that online.
Dude, delete your message.
They're
They're
watching. Punch you through the screen, my dude. Get your license. It's just good too, because you like a lot of the stuff from the license, I will admit, doesn't really apply, but like you do want to be mindful. Like, you know, there are helicopters flying low level doing medical transports and tours. Like you just don't want to, kill somebody. And it's very low likelihood that you would, but it's just not like, okay, it's so easy to control. It's like a lot of things in business. You have to do a risk, cost benefit analysis. You don't need to do like a whole thing, but like, dude, it's so easy to get the license. Just get it done. All right. Let's see. Moving to a new state in 6 months before I start this. What can I do in the meantime to get ready for starting the business? Yeah, good question, William. So a couple things. One, I mean, learn how to do everything, set up your system. So Spiro, photos, videos, 3D tours, drone, like you got to learn all this stuff. So learn it, practice, get ready. You have time, so you don't necessarily have to hurry, but you can learn that in like a week or two.
Set up your packages, pricing, like I was saying. Start your Instagram. You don't have to do like the whole DM method, but you can at least have the profile set up and start following agents. Don't message them or anything like that. But honestly, all the stuff that you're gonna need in order to set it up, set up the LLC, like all the stuff. And as soon as you get in there, like I would say 2 weeks prior to that, start DMing agents and get ready to do some work.
I mean, also, if you want to, depends on where you're at financially and how much you can push it, but you can start DMing from a different place. And if you get shoots, you could stack them all in one day and go there for a day or two. Like depending on how far it is, Southwest has pretty cheap flights. So you could theoretically make it happen. Yeah, I mean, I would say it depends on what you're able and wanting to do now. I think generally you never want to wait to do something because there's many different ways that you can sort stuff out in the meantime. For example, you could even contract somebody to do those shoots for you when you're not there. You could schedule them all in a certain amount of time, and we can still help you prep that. And so independent of like, I don't want this to think, oh, Eli's just saying now because like he wants you in coaching, he wants the money now. Like, sure, yes, but also there's never a good time to wait to start a business generally. And so like you always want to start coaching or not today. Like today's the starting day, right? Maybe that means you're getting ready for joining in coaching. Maybe you're making a plan. Maybe you're talking to the team. Maybe you're starting to do shoots. Maybe you're learning YouTube videos. Like today you started, like you're started, William. As far as rep goes, I mean, I would suggest if you haven't talked to the team yet, game plan with them. Someone said it earlier, but it's important to me to have a team that isn't just trying to sell you at all costs and is pushy. That's not the kind of business I want to build. And so our job is to help you make a plan, whether that involves coaching now or not. So I would just talk with them. Our team's great. Like every single person is on our team for a reason. They're awesome people. And on the front end side of things, great team that you'll get to talk to. So
yeah, if anyone in here has spoken to anyone on our team, shout them out because they love seeing it. And then we all gloat about it. Like, I got a shout out. So yeah, y'all let it, in the comments, if you've spoken to anyone on our team here about what we do. And
yeah, the front end team, it's our coaching team that gets a lot of love, but the front end team, is a big part of the process. And so it's always cool. And I think, people remember that conversation anyway. How do you go about finding someone to outsource your photo editing? Pixel Mob is a resource, basically a marketplace for photo editors. I'll type it because it's spelled tech startup-y. Pixel Mob, I put it in here. Sharon, Brad is cool. Brad is a cool dude.
Brad is cool. I can't wait to screenshot that to him. He's gonna love that. Brad is cool. Sharon, that's perfect. Oh my gosh. This is awesome. Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate it. I was hoping you'd say
this is cool. I had my first broker meeting.
I just had my first broker meeting. Loved it. Rep was clutch in preparation for it, and so was Todd. Much love and respect. Nice. Also, good to see you, first of all. But how did it go? You said you loved it. I imagine that went well? Question mark. Let us know how it went.
Or they loved it. That's right.
They loved it. Yeah.
All right. Everybody loved it.
Let's see. Thoughts on this breakdown? I think a breakdown is incoming. There's no breakdown yet.
It's right here. It was there.
Oh, it was in reverse. 156.25 HDR emits next day turn up 60 minutes. Oh, okay. I was like, is this pricing? I understand. This is like back end 1875 payroll. 65. Oh, editing. Okay, my bad. I'm literally struggling to read English right now. Editing was $20. Yeah, that's about right. 1875 is probably like 70 cents an image. Payroll is 65. That may be like a little high, but like that's a small package. So I would imagine that payroll wouldn't go up that much if you had a longer, bigger shoot. So like overall, that's decent. But like 25 is just basically the cheapest package you're going to sell. So like that's 150. So if it's a $300 order, your profit would have probably been like 210. So yeah, I think that makes sense. Isaac and Andrew are great to talk with. Great guys. Agreed. Lisa and Nicole rock. They do indeed. Isaac's a guy I've known forever. Great guy. Not that Andrew isn't as well. I've known Andrew I don't know. How long has he been with us? Andrew's awesome. But Isaac I know since before. Isaac I met when I was first starting Norman & Young around that time, funny enough. And maybe before. I mean, it's been like long time. So
12 years, 11 years?
At least. He was on my brother's basketball team, and he was like super good. Like it was like when Isaac got the ball, the team was going to score, and that was awesome. So anyway, continuing on, what questions were you guys? Thank you for that. Robin is amazing. We're grateful to have her on the team. She's good. I like the last part. I woke up this morning, my feet hit the floor. I'm winning. That's true. It's even better if you take a step too. You know what you're doing. All right. Cameron, we're not going to make you do it. There's not really a huge advantage either way. There's just some little things like that would probably be the least thing that would make sense to switch right away. I think there's probably a lot of other changes. Like my job is to get you quick wins, and our coaching team's job is to get you quick wins. Rod just had the biggest smile and then just dipped off the camera. That was funny.
I just realized how dark it looks in my eye. I look like a vampire dungeon over here. I had to turn on the old light because I was like, it's getting bad looking over here.
Ooh, this is just great advice in general with anything, right? But with starting a business, especially, it's just like, I mean, yeah, your first months can be great. Your first year can be great, but like nothing in compared to 5 years in. I mean, the fastest way to get to 5 years in is to start right now.
It's everyone's regret too. What are your regrets? Not starting sooner. I wish I started sooner. Everything.
Yeah. What does Rod keep looking at is a great question. He looks at something. I think he like takes notes. I don't know.
Oh, like the whole time at the questions usually.
Oh, you have the separate screen. I see.
Well, I have questions here, and then I have.
He has like 3 computers.
I have questions to look out for over here. And then
Rod, do you have like 3
basketball over here playing? I'm just kidding. What, Kitty?
I was like, do you have 3 computers? Because like we'll be at a meeting and we'll be like, oh, let me bring this one in, and it'll like something else.
Let me bring this other computer in here. Hold on. Yeah, no, just 2 monitors and my phone. But
anyway,
some people have like 4 screens. They'll show me. I'm like, that's fancy. I'm jealous.
That's Jared on our team.
Jared, yeah.
He is collecting monitors.
Well, thanks everyone for a great Q&A. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, biggest lesson. First of all, if you missed Chelsea at the start, go back and watch that. I think she had, a lot of good things to say and things that helped her grow the business. So I'm appreciative again for her jumping on, being part of our community and building their business. And yeah, I mean, biggest thing, whether now is the right time to talk about coaching or, whatever it looks like for you, the most important thing if you're trying to build this business is just to take steps. You don't want to be waiting for something. And that doesn't mean you have to do like a big thing, but like just taking any action is what grows the business. It's like if you need to move a mountain, you move one stone at a time, right? And so, some people sit there and think about how to move the mountain forever. Others just start shoveling. And so my advice to you would be to shovel. We'd obviously love to work with you in coaching. And I think, the reason I built REPP and coaching this business is because it solved the problem that old Eli used to have when I started my business, which is I had no idea what I was doing and I made all these mistakes. And I went the wrong direction. And so, we'd love to work with you, and you can grab a call with the team below and just chat about your goals, the business, everything like that. But regardless of what you do, take action towards it, because that's where everything is going to come from. You're never going to accidentally think your way into the business. There's times you have to think, but yeah, I mean, putting in the work is where the results come from. So any parting thoughts, Mr. Kenny or Mr. Rod?
You said it all.
That's perfect.
The Warren Buffett. I have nothing else to add.
I have nothing else to add.
Yeah.
But no, I just want to again commend anyone, no matter where you're at in the business. Just being here in the first place is part of that action that Eli's talking about. So if you're hearing this now, you're taking the action. You're indulging. You're learning. You obviously regard your business in that way. And I said it like a month ago or so. But how cool is this industry? Like I've been around this industry for a bit now and seen what it's done for people, what it's provided for people. It's incredible, you know. So y'all, you know, in this height of building the business, taking it to new levels, you know, take pictures along the way. I know it sounds silly, but I have no pictures of myself in the beginning days of the business. And sometimes when I really think about it, I'm like, I have to really think, and it's like getting blurry. So like document and these tough times that we're feeling in the business, it will sound crazy, but you'll kind of miss them.
They become the good old days.
They become the good old days. And look what I went through to achieve what I got. It's life asking you if you're ready for whatever you want. So have fun with the business, enjoy the business each day, write down what we're grateful for in the business, what we're positive about in the business, kind of a little bit of takeaway from Chelsea earlier. And we appreciate going live, and these are really fun, and I look forward to every Thursday. So everyone listening, we really appreciate y'all, and really excited to see what this year holds for all of us too. So yeah. Golly, I'll just keep rambling. I don't know.
I like that. Rod motivated me.
Hey, there we go. But yeah, no, seriously, y'all. Yeah, anyone listening is
just cutting them off.
Storming. Wow, it would have been great if the music was still going, but no. Yeah,
I tried to do it, but I think it cut you off, Rod. You were going to sound so much better with inspirational music.
I was going to sound very profound for a second there. So yeah.
Get to work, everybody. See you later. Appreciate y'all. Bye-bye.